program was pre-recorded.
You've entered the Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher, political analyst and socio-political prophet, and Kevin Gallagher, TV and podcast host, and opinionated jackhole. So settle in, grab a beverage. It's time to talk some politics. It's Fletch Nation. Now here are the boys.
Hello again, coming at you from the capital of the state of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, in the old school barbecue smokehouse at 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where it's all homemade and it's all, so
School
good.
Barbecue.
So good. I swear to God, get by soon. Lunch, dinner, bring the family. Yum, 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 yum. All right, as we talk to you, this program is pre-recorded, as the man says at the beginning, but as we record this, it is the 7th of June, the day after D-Day.
Right.
Any reflections on that, Roy? Was it 79 years?
79 years.
79 years.
1945, the war kind of changed in 1943, but this was the final solution to the, as they say, to the Nazi problem in Germany.
Operation Overlord.
Yes.
Amazing mobilization of men and ships and material.
Yeah, it probably wasn't, it was made possible because for 2 years they had just beat Germany into the ground, 2.5 years. And so I just finished a fascinatingly new book by Brandon Sims from Oxford on Hitler. And I've been reading a lot about World War II in that book, and it's fascinating what changed by late 1942 and early 1943 that ended up making 1945 possible, June 6th. And there was a lot of carnage that went on, a lot of carnage, and fascinating because my father was a tank commander for George Patton. And so he literally went into North Africa in 42 and then up through Italy and then went over and he came in on D-Day.
I can't speak for all schools everywhere, but I have a grandnephew that just graduated from high school this year, and congratulations, Jack Parker. Full ride scholarship on the golf team.
Oh, wow.
The golf team. But that's beside the point.
Yep.
He can confirm that World War II, D-Day,
Not
these are
taught.
things that they are not taught in school.
Not taught.
Not taught at all in school. And I can only guess it's because, it was also unpleasant.
Oh,
and people were
might
slaughtered.
hurt your feelings.
People were slaughtered, and we don't want to threaten children's safe space by telling them things about, mass murder and
genocide.
Yeah,
it's kind of a sad thing. But anyway, that was literally a time when the United States saved the world.
Well, there are so few.
The United States, Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Russia did kind of come in and deliver the coup de grace.
Well, they're the ones that in 1942, as Stalingrad, were able to hold and finally break through what they call the center, and captured 110,000 German soldiers, and I think killed about 60,000. All of and no telling how many others
Those
died.
numbers are just staggering.
They're unbelievable. But anyway, that's ancient history, as they say.
So few men and women left alive that served and know those times.
Yeah.
But for those of you that do and are, God bless you. You lived through one of the most trying times, I think, in modern human history.
Yeah, absolutely. And most of those people now are 88, 89, 90, if they're living. That's how old they are.
Well, my mom was a little girl, if that tells you.
Yeah, indeed. So there you go. And then now we have the legislative session, which I find to be boring, but that's just me.
They always, the legislative session, the big thing this year was with the budget, because they had a whole bunch of leftover federal COVID money. $2.2 billion, by the way. for the fiscal year that starts in July. What do we do with it? And that became, because we can't just spend it because there is a statutorily imposed spending limit. The state can only spend so many dollars a year.
Right.
So they fought over raising the limits. They could spend more money.
Well, yeah, they finally did. And they decided on, it's always a question of, do we spend or not spend? Which one do you think is going to win in the political process?
Spending always wins.
Spending always wins.
I don't care what party is in majority, spending
Debt limit is always raised. Spending is always increased. Always. And I think there were some people that were complaining because their particular agencies were cut because they didn't get a raise over last year. So not getting a raise over last year is a cut. So that's here nor there.
The budget, by the way, if you don't know, $47 billion for the next fiscal year.
I remember when it was 12 or 13 billion.
I was going to say, I can remember 19 and thinking, oh my God, $19 billion.
It's pretty wild, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
So speaking of World War II, let's speak about the war that's currently going on, that we're not in. De facto, we're not in, but we are in. Our money's in it.
Yeah. But if Ukraine loses, we didn't lose. Ukraine lost.
Oh yeah. but if Ukraine wins, we won. Yesterday or the day before, somebody blew up a massive dam in the Ukraine, and it's flooding wheat fields and corn fields and all kinds of things. Now, the talking heads tell us that it was Russia that blew it up. The problem with that is that the water and all of this, the problems are all in the eastern area that the Russians control.
So why would the Russians disrupt the food chain in their territory, the territory they're holding?
Including Crimea. So exactly what did Russia get out of blowing this up? Or are we being told that perhaps Russia blew it up when in fact the Ukraine blew? Well, I mean, Nord Stream, Russia blew that up, right? The pipeline? No, Ukraine blew up. So wait a minute. I
thought the Navy SEALs did.
Well, we could probably be right. So the point is that you, I, and everybody else knows, common sense tells us that Russia didn't blow up that dam.
It doesn't seem.
It does not seem plausible.
If it mainly negatively affected areas that Russia is currently holding, I don't see
think
where
that Russia blew that dam up. So this massive travesty, and if you look at the Chicago Mercantile, the prices on wheat and corn and so on and so forth are moving up rapidly. Because folks, the Ukraine supplies the world with a lot of food. And if they're not supplying the world with a lot of food, where do you think the world is going to go to ask for food?
US of A.
Good old Uncle Sam. That's exactly where they're going. And what's going to happen to the food prices in the United States if our politicians, in their benevolence, decide to send food to the rest of the world? Going up.
Like a skyrocket.
Get ready. That's getting ready to happen. And the Saudi Arabians, I see Blinken is over there today, or yesterday, was over there yesterday. And we're going to talk about that when we come back, because it's important to talk about food and energy as it relates to inflation.
Can't
we'll
live
be
without
right
them.
back.
Yep, 3 minutes. Give us.
Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
You could be driving a...
Now's the time to save on new Accords during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana. Get our lowest prices and biggest savings on our largest selection of Accords this year. Hurry in and save during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda of Acadiana, I-49 just south of Opelousas.
Visit Treads & Care Tire Company's new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for over 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair and top-notch customer service.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
So glad to have you along. As we were talking about the legislature, kind of a big yawn, but then again, as I've said before on the program, in my opinion, these fiscal-only legislative sessions are kind of a big yawn.
Yeah, they seem to be, but I think they're a massive yawn. So we have Blinken in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, what the hell? What's he doing over there?
Well,
please make more oil.
The OPEC Plus group. See, everybody's got to have a plus, and you got to have.
You didn't know OPEC had their own streaming service now, did you?
Yeah. So they had decided in April to cut back production by 2 million barrels a day. They had all agreed to that, and they have. And you can see the gas prices starting to creep back up.
Because God knows we could almost afford a tank of gas.
Well, now they said, okay, we're going to go another 1 million barrels. So now they're at 3 million barrels a day, cutting back. So Blinken is in Saudi Arabia, begging the Saudis to not do this. These people are very confusing to me. They have
because begging's always worked for us so much before.
Well, they've talked about Saudi Arabia like a bunch of animals. Talked about they're going to put everybody in jail for killing that dude, so on and so forth. I can't remember his name. Everything they could say about it, they're despots, they're whatever they've called them. But now they're over going, hey guys, could we kind of like maybe get some oil from y'all? Kissing up.
Yep.
Kissing up. That's exactly what they're doing. Now, why does that matter? Well, if you take the Ukraine and the dam being blown out and the loss of a lot of foodstuffs in the world, commodities, basic things, corn, wheat, go down to soy, whatever it is. And then and the Ukraine sells a lot of that product and sends a lot of that product to third world countries that that don't necessarily have agriculture systems that can support their populations. And of course, if they don't have the foodstuffs to support their populations in those places, what do you think we will do?
We will step in.
We will step in.
Uncle Sam.
And we will send them food, right? Of which case, that means
we'll take it out of the mouths of needy Americans to give it to other countries.
Exactly. So you don't pay any taxes for that. What happens is your price of commodities go up. Everything at the grocery store will go up. That's one set. And now, if the Saudis are cutting back oil production, or the OPEC Plus is cutting back oil production by 3 million barrels a day, and the price of your gasoline goes up, what do you think's going to happen? When interest rates are already high, or what do you think's going to happen?
Collapse.
Perhaps a little bit of inflation. Yeah.
Another recession. If you buy the fact that we're out of the one we're in already.
Instead of bragging about 4.5% inflation, like the Biden administration seems to think is really good, given the fact that it's 4 times it was under Trump's last year. Given that, now we're headed toward probably 6 or 8 again, or more.
Dare we say double digits?
Yeah, dare we say. And so, what does that do for us? Well, it gives us an issue again that will turn into a political hot potato for the Biden administration. I'm convinced, and I've looked at it, Biden's numbers have gone back up as the price of energy and food has kind of dropped back slightly, modified itself, I should say. I'm convinced that inflation is the only thing that matters to most people in America, the cost of living. And the reason for that is because for most Americans, making ends meet are so damn hard. Because salaries and income really don't ever catch up and allow people the room to do what they need.
And if any of you ever
and their demand don't ever slow down.
You make regular trips to the grocery store, just make the week's run or the 2-week run, you probably notice you're spending $125 more per visit than
a month,
maybe a year ago.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy.
But this is all going to be right in time for the big campaign for the 24 election.
I think it's headed toward that way. And now, this week, yesterday I saw on Facebook, I thought this was interesting. Trump had predicted the merger of the 2 golf tournaments, PGA and the LIV, the one out of Saudi Arabia. They merged yesterday. He had predicted that a year ago. He had actually sent out a text about it and said, all you guys that don't want to belong to the LIV, get ready.
Because you're going to belong to the LIV.
You're going to belong to the LIV. And sure enough, it happened exactly like you said.
Interesting.
But that was an aside. The other thing that happens in the market now is this continuing decline of Anheuser-Busch is massive. It is really massive. And I've been reading a lot about what happened and how these people, they basically took, I can't remember the guy's name that wrote Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky. Yeah, and they took the formulations that he had and applied them to the American corporate scene. And they said, and then they personalized it. Anheuser-Busch did. And they went, boom, get them. And I mean, it has really turned into a disaster for Anheuser-Busch. They're giving away beer, Bud Light. And then
Plus, to some extent, they have to buy their product back if it doesn't sell.
Exactly right. Yeah. And then I think what they're doing is paying the distributors to give it away. And then you have Target, who has come under a direct assault.
Transgender satanic.
Yeah,
if you think, I don't want to say transgender's bad enough, but I mean transgender satanic.
Yeah, well,
it's like, what the hell is Target thinking?
And there we go.
They want to talk to you about your Medicare coverage.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. And so, or at least something like that.
That's this week's scam.
Well, or has your appliance insurance run out?
Yeah,
that's a big one. I got a bill for new appliance insurance the other day for $2,000 for 5 years. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get right on you. I'd rather buy a new one than that.
Right.
But anyway, so the whole thing with Target has, and trust me, it's kicking their butts. This thing is really kicking down on that. Whether the gay, transgender, whatever alternate lifestyle community has suddenly engaged with Target, they're threatening them and demanding and so on and so. Hey, guys, that's not the way you do this. The way you do this is with cash, money, buying, and they're not buying. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Few things in life are as valuable as family and peace of mind, especially when it comes to your final arrangements. And that's where Dignity Memorial can help. Our prepaid funeral plans make sure that your life will be remembered exactly the way you want it to. At Dignity Memorial, no detail is too large or too small. Call Lee Serio at 225-315-6329. That's 315-6329. Dignity Memorial, the peace of mind your family deserves.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-778-4345. 800-778-4345.
The season of inspiration is the perfect time to discover the enhanced Mazda CX-5, named a 2022 IIHS Safety Pick Plus Award winner, its highest safety award honor. Choose from over 45 CX-5s available at Baton Rouge's Mazda dealer, Team Mazda on Airline.
Hi gang, Clarence Buggs here, inviting you to come by Old School Barbecue, 10655 Coursey Boulevard, where we tape the show live every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 11 o'clock. Come by and feast on news, sports, current events, love of God and country, and lots of common sense, along with some of the best barbecue anywhere on the planet. 10655 Coursey Boulevard, Old School Barbecue, home of the Clarence Buggs Show.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystoneCountryClub.com.
Program grab up the bunch. And so glad to have you with us here for Fletch Nation. He's Roy. I'm Kevin. So
Kevin, what I'm really trying to get to here is, I mean, we're dealing with inflation and all that, so that's where we're headed. But what I want to get to here is what's happened with the response to corporate America. And what's happened in corporate America over the last 10, 12, these large financial institutions that loan money, and BlackRock, those kind of institutions, they have basically thrust on corporate America, you must do this woke stuff.
DEI is what
DEI,
diversity, equity, inclusion.
ETG, whatever the hell all that is. That is, they have thrust that, and they also do it on state governments, because states borrowing money, or they have retirement funds or whatever the case. They tell them, you must do this, so on and so forth.
Yeah, the other acronym I'm thinking of is ESG, Environmental Social Governance.
Maybe so, yeah. And so what's happened is, over the last 10 or 15 years, we've seen these companies become, all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, they've become woke. I mean, and all of this matters to them. And they've taken on this whole social justice agenda, particularly places like Disney. That's another one. Particularly places like Target, particularly places like, Bud Light tried. Coors has the Blue Mountains in the back. Okay? I mean, those little ponies, they're probably going to turn into unicorns next. And then
little rainbow unicorns.
Yeah, well, and then of course the bull on Schlitz Malt Liquor will have his horns taken off.
Well, we wouldn't want to assign gender. We don't want to assume that the bull is a male.
I mean that's my point. But so what's happened is, just like they've done with schools, this has created a reaction in the American public, and somebody along the way has figured out how to direct that reaction, and how to direct it goes at the pocketbooks, because BlackRock and all of these companies can't make money if their customers are losing money, and that's what's actually happening. And it's to change the culture of these corporations back to being market-based corporations and not social justice agenda operations. And until I don't, either that happens or America changes even more fundamentally. Either they win these fights on these corporate things,
or they lose and lose big.
Or they lose and lose big. Now, the schools were the same way. All of the agenda was being taught, and finally parents said, whoa, wait, hold on a minute. And the spark, I think, was frankly Virginia.
I was going to ask the name of that county in Virginia.
Yeah, I forget now.
Fairfax?
Maybe so. I don't think it was Fairfax. But the point of it is that that's where it occurred, and it centered around 2 rapes and all kinds of things that went on up there.
Sum it up real quick. This school system, a young man who identifies as a woman was basically allowed to use the girls' restroom in school, where he raped a girl. And the school's answer to that was, don't call the police, transfer him to another school district.
Where he did it again?
Where he did it again, same thing.
Yep. So
twice.
And so parents just had enough, and it broke out, and Boykin, I think that's his name, got elected governor, Glenn Boykin.
Yep.
And that was all part of it. Well, let me tell you, when there's a reaction and something like this happens, and all of these little groups started forming and going to school board meetings and saying, oh, wait, no, hell no, and doing all this, don't think the left is going to sit there.
Yeah, Youngkin, by the way, governor's.
Youngkin, yeah. Boykin.
There's always it always seems like the pendulum will swing.
Yes,
both ways.
and so the left didn't just sit there. They went to the Southern Poverty Law Center, who yesterday released a listing of terrorist organizations, and there are all these parent organizations. These are these are domestic terrorists.
SPLC ought to list themselves.
They should, but that's what happened, and so now, of course, who depends on the listing of the SPLC?
Not a whole.
The FBI.
Yeah.
The FBI. So all of these parent groups now are become suspect, and these people that are involved with.
Look at that monitor. Glendale, California. Street brawl over LGBTQ school curriculum.
Yeah. So
that's the best reason to keep this stuff out of our schools, Roy.
Yeah. Well, but here we are now. Our market system has been invaded and jaded, and then our schools have long been the carriers of this. I mean, and our government is obviously that way. Mm-hmm. So the question becomes: is where does this end, and how does it end, and does it ever end? And that's what America's facing right now. Mm-hmm. And we don't think you're going to get the truth about it from the media, because you're not going to get that. You're not going to get the truth. And the truth is that the media is just up to their head, if not they're at least up to their eyeballs, in exactly the same thing. Because that's what they report. That's how they frame stories.
And they do things kind of subtly. Like, for instance, the legislature just sent a bill to the governor that basically says gender transition medical procedures can't be performed on persons under 18. And
can't be done to persons under 18.
Let's
right?
take
it can't be done by persons.
Can't be done to persons under 18.
That's what I meant.
Okay, now
you said by.
When you see this in the news, you're going to see this phrase done by everybody in the media: gender affirming care. Now, I'm going to just give my opinion for a second. It's not gender affirming care; it's gender denying care. If you were born male, you are a male. Now, whatever's going on in your brain, that doesn't change your physiology. So to undergo hormonal and surgical procedures to become a female, that's denying that you're a male. So it's not gender affirming. It's gender transition. It's transgender medical procedures. But I know they gender affirming, they want to make it sound sweet and nice.
Sweet and kind.
Because who would object to gender affirmation?
Yesterday, a court in Florida, a Clinton-appointed federal judge, ruled that the Florida law, basically the same as Louisiana's that just passed, is unconstitutional. And there is a problem, I think, with the law, and I know people find that to be interesting, that the lawmakers in Florida made a mistake giving Ron DeSanctimonious his position that
he didn't write the law.
But there is a real problem, and Fred Mills, the senator who got in trouble over this, made the point on the floor, and when we come back, I want to talk about that a minute.
Okay, Fred Mills, transgender bill. Be right back.
Got termites? Get Premier Pest. PremierPestServices.com.
Hi, I'm Katie, Operation Manager here at Old School Barbecue. We're excited about all of the changes here at Old School, and we'd like to invite everyone to come out and enjoy some delicious barbecue at Old School prices. We feature brisket, chicken, ribs, sausage, and the Boss Hog pulled pork sandwich voted best deal in town. We also have live music Friday and Saturday from 7 to 10 p.m. 10655 Coursey Boulevard. We can't wait to see you.
Hello guys, it's Debbie. It's time. I've got a brand new location. 10510 Airline Highway, Baton Rouge, next to After 5 Tuxedos. We have the perfect spot to get all your wedding and formal wear needs. Come see our one-of-a-kind name brand and get great prices. With 30 years experience, the best customer service anywhere. It's Debbie's Bridal, Airline Highway, Baton Rouge. See you soon.
Hi, I am Dr. Farrell Frugier Jr., and I am a general dentist at Frugier Family Dentistry. I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I went to Catholic High School, LSU, and LSU School of Dentistry in New Orleans, where I received my DDS degree in 1986. I always have and will continue to be committed to continuing my education, to invest in technology which makes the diagnosis and delivery of dentistry more thorough, more comfortable, and more aesthetically pleasing. In our practice, we are here to serve the patients. We want to improve their quality of life and to develop relationships with our patients. In dentistry, we have a chance to impact lives on a daily basis, not just by doing dentistry, but by getting to know them and being a part of their life. We also believe in giving back to our community. So every year, we give back to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, Toys for Tots, and Mary Bird Perkins Cancer Center. Please stop by and visit our office. We would love to take care of you and your family.
Hey everybody, I'm Kevin Gallagher. This is Roy Fletcher. We hope you'll join us for Fletch Nation, especially if you like talking politics.
Hey, come and join us. We'll give you the information, and then we'll give you the context. And by the way, we'll give you fun, too.
Lots of fun. We hit the local races, the state. We even look at what's going on all across America. And by the way, this space is available. If you'd like to talk about advertising, send your emails to royfletcher at royfletcher.com and join us every week here on the Pelican for Fletch Nation.
The biggest sale of the year is happening right now during Happy Honda Days at Team Honda. For a limited time, make no payments for 90 days on every new Honda. That's right, you choose and make no payments for 90 days at Louisiana's #1 Honda dealer, Team Honda on Segan Lane.
Caught spiders? Premier Pest Services.
Remember, Old School Barbecue Smokehouse at 10655 Coursey Boulevard. You're in Baton Rouge, you come on by and get some home-style, old-school, homemade barbecue. It's delicious. They make barbecue sauce from scratch.
Kevin, we were talking in the break, and I forgot what I was talking about.
I know, isn't that terrible? I shouldn't distract you with other stuff while we're in commercial break.
I don't know what that is. I guess it's being old. I don't know. Old, I'm not old. So, but the point is, I think that we have, so all of this is happening, and the question is, where does it end, or what happens with it? And I'm afraid that I think that we're going to continue on. Now, I was going to talk about the the federal court case out of Florida on the law, and about what Fred Mills raised on the floor of the Senate.
On the ban of transgender procedures for minors.
That's correct, yeah. And Mills raised this point, and that is, hey, what about all of these kids that are already doing this, and in this process, what you're going to do is essentially stop their care.
You never heard of a grandfather clause?
Well, that's not in the bill. The grandfather.
Let's see, he votes against the bill rather than proposing the amendment to put a grandfather clause in.
Here's the point I'm making. But I use him to make a bigger point, and that is, this case in Florida is going to go up. It's going to the United States Supreme Court. I'm afraid that the law in Florida, if it did the same thing and did not have the grandfather clause in it, may very well could be found unconstitutional, because you're stopping care that's already down the road. Care, whatever it is. You're stopping
a medical course of treatment.
This stuff. You're stopping this stuff that's already down the road for a 12-year-old. Well, you can imagine what equal protection clause has to say about that, and and due process and everything else. So this is a real issue. And while I disagree with Fred on his positions about the positions he took with respect to this, I think that is an argument that we're going to hear about as it relates to this legislation. And I think now there's 25 states that have this. So if that's in all states and there's not a grandfather clause in, so the question also enters into, if there is a grandfather clause in, how come they get grandfathered in for medical procedures and you can't do them in the future because they're legitimate medical procedures and et cetera? So we've gotten
slippery slope.
Yeah, we got into a real thicket here now. I think, if I'm right, we've gotten into a real thicket of federal cases and a morass of, and we'll wait, as you said before, we'll wait 5 years before we get a reasonable answer out of this whole thing.
Now, this transgender bill and two other bills that, in a news piece I wrote up about these three bills, a package of three bills, I called them anti-woke bills. That's what they are. They're a reaction to woke aspects of our emerging society. There was a ban on transgender medical procedures. There's the pronouns bill, which basically assures that if little Johnny comes to school and says, call me she, her, rather than he, him, you got to do it. And this bill will protect teachers from that. And you'll go, no, Johnny, you're obviously a boy. I'm not, they're not going to be under obligation to indulge someone in their pronouns.
Well, they're not going to get sued over it.
No, I'm not, but that's the second bill. And the third bill,
I forget,
is, because you wonder, it's like, the governor called them solutions in search of a problem in Louisiana.
Wait, but the governor called not having men participate in women's sports he used the same language.
Yeah.
That was 2 or 3 years ago when that occurred.
And then Leah Thomas
guess what has happened since then?
At least 3 men have beat the crap out of women in physical competitions.
All kind of stuff, and it's happening all over the country. And so I think that the governor needs to take this. This is not a solution in search of a problem. This is a problem that you can get ahead of. And you ought to deal with it in a reasonable way, in a rational way that comports to the community standards of Louisiana.
The third bill in the package that's going to the governor is what some critics call the "Don't Say Gay" bill. It's sort of patterned off the floor, but basically it just says teachers and school staff cannot discuss gender preference or sexual topics with students outside of what would be a legitimate classroom discussion, like health class. Reproductive health, things like that. Okay. So these bills, the governor's already said, I heard him twice on Jim Inkster's radio show over the course of the session say, no. He hasn't come right out and said, I'll veto him, but he doesn't like
Well, the fact is, on the stopping the gender medical stuff, that bill passed the Senate with 29 votes.
Also was pulled out of committee to go to a Senate vote.
Yeah, but it passed by 20. But Jay Morris handled the bill.
Yeah, I heard him.
And did a very good job with it. But the point is that it passed by a veto-proof majority.
Right.
With several, I don't want to say number, but several Democrats voting for it.
Some
Greg
people know right from
Tarver, the lady from Monroe,
Katrina Jackson. And I think it passed the House by a veto-proof majority too. So the governor may be, I hate to say that, he may be whistling Dixie. Well, the way I see it, in this is a extreme lame duck year for him. I mean, he's over. So there's very limited political baggage for him to let the bill become law.
No, there is. There's potentially some baggage. And let me give you what it is.
Okay.
The baggage is that if he allows the bill to become law and he wants to be in the Biden cabinet after 24, assuming he gets reelected, then he has to be approved by the Senate and the Democratic Party would not be looked real favorably on a governor that allowed this, a Democrat, that allowed this bill to become law.
Better question.
So it's a question of the ambition. Is his ambition state or is it federal?
So it's not the if on the veto. I think the veto can be assumed. The vetoes can be assumed. The question is, will they agree? Will they vote to go into override, or will they just say, the hell with it, we'll get it next year? When presumably they'll have a Jeff Landry in the governor's office.
Well, they could do that. But if they did do that, then they would give him sort of a victory for his ability to try to find a national place to light when he gets out of the governor's mansion, if he were so inclined.
But if they meet and override him, well, not so good.
Well, if they meet and override him, I mean, he vetoed it. I mean, that's the whole point is that his veto signals what his ambition is. Okay, that would be my take on it. I'm not necessarily certain of that, but I mean, I don't know what his plans are. But I think that's the kind of situation he finds himself.
Kind of sad, though, that the stories that are getting the most ink from this legislative session are
this
social engineering legislation.
Yeah. Well, and, it's anyway. We'll be right back, and we talk about spots.
Fletch Nation returns. Come back.
Live and play on the fairway at Greystone Golf and Country Club, a serene, challenging golf destination located in Denham Springs. For tee times and membership opportunities, go to GreystonecountryClub.com.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With private healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. Health insurance has never been so easy and affordable. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, call the number on the screen now and speak with a live healthcare consultant. Don't wait. Get the coverage you need now.
Every great story starts with the rush of thrilling gaming action. Handcrafted flavors, eager to please. Getaways for some well-deserved me time. And rewards worth bragging about. If it's a story worth telling, it starts at La Berge Baton Rouge. What's your story?
Tremonti's has meat. Tremonti's has seafood. Tremonti's has much more. Tailgating and home gating platters. Huge wine and liquor selection. Beer and all the spices you need. Chairman Reserve and Wagyu meats. Ribeye rolls, shrimp rolls, kebabs. 20 flavors of sausage for the grill. Daily lunch specials and game processing. On-site catering also available. Good meat ain't cheap and cheap meat ain't good. Visit Tremonti's.com.
You can't smell it, but you can almost taste it. And whether it's for a family get-together or a game day feast, having Manda in the mix always sounds good. For 3 generations, their quality meats and original seasonings have made Manda a Louisiana legend and made their family sausage Louisiana's family sausage. Manda Fine Meats. The flavor says it all.
Treads & Care Tire Company announces its new location on Hooper Road in Central. Locally owned for 50 years, Treads & Care is known for quality automotive repair with top-notch customer service. Treads & Care offers the convenience of shuttle service and pickup and delivery of your vehicle. You can also enjoy the comfortable customer area, complete with workstations, high-speed internet, and a complimentary coffee bar.
I'd like to invite you to come out and see us at our new location in Central.
Treads & Care, the tires you need and the service you want.
Is this our last one?
This is our last one.
Well,
so
Anyway, so let's talk about the governor's race.
You mentioned ads. It's been interesting. Actually caught you on Jim Engster's Talk Louisiana radio program the other day talking about the back and forth, not between the candidates themselves, interestingly enough. I've noticed PACs now do the dirty work with the attack ads and the negative ads.
That way it's not the candidate.
Yeah, it's not Jeff Landry crapping on Stephen Wagaspack.
Like people sit at home and discern. Oh, no. Well, he's not really that negative. He's really, that was his PAC.
Yeah.
That don't have anything to do with him.
Except that they're giving him $1.6 million.
I said on Jim Engster, and I said last night, Channel 9, I say again, I thought it was an unforced error. Wagensback quickly moved off of any positive that he had to say, and went right to the attack, clearly demonstrating that Landry is way ahead. And what was interesting is that Landry responded. I mean, there are people that say, well, Landry's just proving the case that, no, that Wagensback is his opponent. No, what Landry's doing is sending a message that if you come around here thinking you're going to slap me around and I'm not going to respond to you, you're wrong. And more importantly, I think in terms of a campaign strategy, it was, guys, we're not going to let anybody ride a white horse around here. Nobody's going to ride a white horse to the mansion. Everybody's going to get muddy, and everybody's going to be a politician, and everybody's just going to have a big time eating crawfish.
But one of the things I appreciated in the interview you did with Engster the other day on the radio was you addressed how early it is in a gubernatorial campaign to start slinging the mud.
Well, it's early because it's so late. And what do I mean by that? Last year, December, January, or even this year, there should have been ads up. I mean, normally would have been ads, real positive ads about a particular candidate, whatever. And they waited for 3 months to do that. And now we're in actually Wagensback waited 4.5 months. And so now we're 4.5 months behind. And so the period of time suddenly has closed. And so it's early, because it should be. It would have been like running ads in December.
Yeah.
In a regular negative ads in December. But it's late because we're already in April, May, and June, and we're getting to the negatives now. Yeah, well, negatives would have been run if you had gone 6 months of positive. If you follow where I'm coming from.
Does it come down to a campaign budget just doesn't go as far as it used to?
I think that's part of it. But I think there's also the notion that positive ads do not move voters. I mean, whether you like it or not, folks, y'all love negative ads. Negative ads move voters. And so candidates spend money on things that move voters, and you're telling them, hey, folks, I don't like all this positive stuff. I could care less. Run me some good old rot gut negative. Okay? I mean, that's what, there we are.
But is there any chance that, okay, we know I've talked about Wagensback before. He doesn't have a lot of statewide name recognition, especially you get out into the quote hinterlands. You get into Allen Parish and stuff like that.
You don't have it.
But now, thanks to this ad, people are going, what? Who's Stephen Wagensback?
Yeah, well, except, I'll tell you who he is. It's the first time you maybe get to know who he is. Oh, that's Bobby Jindal's chief of staff.
Yeah,
who did all this rotten stuff to the staff.
Well,
that's where they are.
In a sentence, they really, when he was with Bobby Jindal, he presided over the loss of 13,000 jobs and took the economy from 6th to 42nd.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that's the claim in the commercial.
That's the claim in the commercial, and Wagensback tried to respond a little bit to that, saying, "Well, I wasn't ever in public office." Stop. You know what, Bobby Jindal.
You may be appointed, but on the
you're
government,
in the office,
on the taxpayer teat.
You're in the office when you're taking my pay, when you get my tax money and getting a paycheck. So But Bobby Jindal, of all the people, I would be the most pissed. It would be Bobby Jindal. And I would have said, you know what, Stephen, I should have just run for governor because I'm going to get my brains beat out in this election.
I kind of wonder if they get together a 4th of July weekend or if that's not so much the case anymore.
I mean, I would be upset if I was Bob. But because he don't get the chance to defend himself. Stephen, defend me. No, I'm not. I got to run away from them. So,
can you run from the Jindal administration?
Oh, I mean, if you established yourself early and about what you were about, and done some things, yeah, you might could, but you just strip bare. Nobody knows who you are, and the first thing they hear is this. It's tough. Now, one of the reasons why we're late too is that Kennedy held it up for about 3 months, if you remember, into January. And it's not his fault. I'm not saying that. But the fact is that made the race a slow developing race. Mm-hmm. And that's where we are right now. I think that somebody will get a hold of these two guys and say, hey man, you know, the state wrong direction numbers in this state are almost 80%. You might want to have a bit of specific positive vision about the state of Louisiana that maybe people, oh no, we're going negative. I don't know. I don't get it.
On the positives, though, I mean, we've all heard I'll fight crime. But nobody ever wants to say what they would try to actually do.
Exactly. And more importantly than even that is that they don't really get to the fundamental issue that's bothering people in this state very often. And crime is an issue, but crime is a symptomatic issue. And while you say I'm against crime, everybody's against crime, it's not a salient issue. What do I mean by that? It does not drive voters if you do not have a strong enough message. Issues that move voters they're not even talking about. They're not talking about right now. Mm-hmm. And it's very weird. I thought that Landry's ad on crime was better than this attack ad because Landry attacked the system, the criminal justice system. He went after it. And that's where people's heads are in this stuff, is that we got a lot of systemic transformational problems in Louisiana.
We got a lot of problems on the judicial bench.
Well, we just have it everywhere. And then, so anyway, Kevin, we got to go.
It's been an interesting week.
It's been fun. All right, my man. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next week on Fletch Nation.
Hello?
Listening to Fletch Nation with Roy Fletcher and Kevin Gallagher. Remember, if you heard something that ticked you off, upset your sensibilities, or threatened your precious safe space,
the opinions expressed by the hosts and guests are purely their own and do not reflect those of this radio station or its advertisers.
So if you're calling a lawyer, planning a boycott, or a cancel campaign, forget about it and join us next week for more Fletch Nation.